My late wife was a very small person. When we got married, she was only 115 pounds, so her wedding dress size reflects that. She passed away 2 years ago, so she will not be able to attend our daughter's wedding. That will be in 2025. Now my daughter wants to wear the dress, and I told her it wouldn't be a good idea since she won't be able to squeeze into it. She told me she can just increase the size of it, and I told her I would think about it. I looked into it and they basically cut the dress to size it up. I informed her no, she can't wear the dress since they would be cutting it up. This resulted in a huge argument about me gatekeeping my wife's things. I told her no again, and that she can wear some of her jewellery. She hung up. She clearly thinks I'm a jerk, and my sons are now on me to give up the dress. Am I the idiot? Since it was asked twice, my wife always wanted to go dress shopping with our daughters. She loved her wedding dress, and I don't think she would be okay with it being cut up. I also have a younger daughter since that was asked. Also, I'm confused why a lot of the comments mention my youngest is super skinny like my wife. I never said that. She won't fit into the dress either. More due to the fact that she is almost 6 feet. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. No idiots here. Neither of you are idiots, but I would offer something to think about. The best memory your wife had in that dress was marrying you. Do you really think she intended for it to hang in the closet for the next 70 years after you both have passed, until it eventually fell apart and was eaten by moths? Or would she have wanted her daughter to wear it and create her own special memories? What's going to happen to it when you pass? You're going to give it to one of your daughters and they will most likely hang it in a closet for forget about it. For reference, I am currently sitting in a room with a closet full of my father and father-in-law's clothes and jackets that could not be thrown away after they both passed. They're going to sit in that closet until we get tired of moving them, and then they're going to get donated. We do not take them out to look at them, we don't wear them. They literally just sit in the closet. Your wife's passing is still raw and something you will never get over. It is the same for her daughters. I'm sure you have heard it 100 times. You can get another wife. They cannot get another mother. We often glance over the pain of losing the spouse and focus on the children who lost their mother. If it is your pain preventing you from letting it go, then be honest with your daughter and let her know that you cannot bear to part with it. But please don't deny your daughter a gift that would bring her so much joy and happiness if the only reason is because you think your wife might not have wanted it to be altered. She wants to feel close to her mother on her wedding day, and the dress she wants is just sitting in a closet, never to be seen or used again. I'm so sorry for your loss, and hers too. I hope you both can reach a solution that leaves you happy. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I'm sure I'll be the minority, unfortunately, but most people are unable to fathom how devastating the loss of a spouse is. At the 2-year mark, you are still in early grief. My husband died unexpectedly. I gave his daughters some things right off the bat, but others I'm having a difficult time parting with, and it activates the fight or flight centers of my traumatized brain. Make no mistake, our brains are traumatized. Our decisions may not seem rational to others, but they don't know what this kind of grief will do to you. Before anyone says, she lost her mother, I get that. I honestly do. My son was 5 when my husband died, and it unalives me knowing he will grow up without his dad. Also, while I vote not the idiot, I think you should let her wear the dress. I'm not in your position, but I can imagine that thinking about someone cutting the dress apart might feel like you are losing another part of her when you have already lost so much. You're not losing her again by letting your daughter wear the dress and feel like a part of her mum is with her on her special day. I also imagine it could be extra emotional for you to see her in the dress your wife wore on your happy day together. Perhaps that's driving some of your reluctance to let her wear the dress, or maybe I'm totally off the mark. If you don't already work with a therapist grief counsellor, I would encourage it, and encourage you to explore your feelings beyond, she wouldn't want it cut up. I always find there are deeper emotions under those hard decisions for me. Maybe you're just not able to put your finger on it beyond thinking the dress will be ruined. The dress will be fine, but you're risking ruining your relationship instead. Salvage this relationship with your daughter. We are alone enough as it is. You need each other. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Not every person who saves their wedding dress intends to pass it down or give it to a relative to wear later on. Your wife intended to go dress shopping with her daughters, had she not passed. You're allowed to keep the dress the way your wife intended, or let your daughter use it. It sounds like if it wouldn't be cut up and returned to you after it was worn, you'd be fine with her using it. But since it'd be completely taken apart, you aren't okay with it. Look into getting a replica made in your daughter's size if it's not possible to find another one online or at a vintage wedding shop. Also, you have 2 daughters. The dress shouldn't be cut up and then kept by one daughter in the event the other daughter also wants to use it. I think giving her the wedding jewellery is a great compromise. Now for the update. So I had a long heart-to-heart chat with my daughter about the whole wedding dress issue. She was apologetic for the harsh words she'd thrown my way and admitted that she'd acted out of frustration because she wanted to feel close to her mother on her wedding day. I reminded her that her mother was a part of her in her heart and mind, and that no dress could change that. But what really made the difference was when my youngest daughter chimed in. She talked about how much the dress meant to her too, even though it wouldn't fit her either, and how she'd always dreamed of preserving it for future generations to see. She suggested that instead of altering the dress, we could incorporate elements of it into my older daughter's dress, like using the lace from the veil or the beading from the bodice, to keep the essence of the original dress intact. My older daughter loved the idea. She decided to cut the veil into two parts, one part to be used as an overlay for her dress, and the other part to be saved for her sister. The dressmaker, a family friend, agreed to help with preserving the rest of the dress for display, so future generations can appreciate its beauty. And the most unexpected part of all this, my sons, who had been so adamantly against me, came around. They admitted that they were wrong to pressure me into giving up the dress, and said they regretted jumping to conclusions without considering my feelings. They even offered to pay for the preservation and display of the dress. In the end, it all worked out. It took an argument and some hurt feelings, but we've come together as a family to honour both the present and the past. And I believe wherever she is, my wife is looking down on us, smiling at how we've managed to preserve her legacy while creating new memories. I don't think she would have wanted anything else. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. As a parent, it's crucial to foster an environment where your children feel loved and respected. The fact that your daughter came to you with an apology shows that she values your feelings and relationship. You showed understanding and patience by reminding her of her mother's ever-present influence, and your youngest daughter's suggestion was an excellent way to incorporate the past into the present. Your sons admitting their mistake and offering to pay for the preservation of the dress further illustrates the respect and love within your family. This is a perfect example of how to handle family conflicts in a respectful and considerate manner. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You've shown great tact and maturity in handling a delicate situation. The fact that your older daughter loved the idea of using the veil as an overlay for her dress shows that she values the tradition and sentiments attached to the dress. By saving the rest for her sister, she's also showing consideration for her siblings' feelings. This could have easily turned into a major family dispute, but the way you've all handled it, it's become a beautiful testament to your late wife's legacy. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The way your family has come together to honour your late wife's legacy while creating new memories is truly heartwarming. It's important to remember that wedding dresses are often more than just a piece of clothing. They represent traditions, memories, and emotions. Your family's decision to preserve the dress and incorporate it into your daughter's wedding is a wonderful tribute to your late wife. The fact that your sons are willing to pay for the preservation shows their respect for the past and their commitment to family values. This story is a testament to the power of communication, empathy, and love within a family. Now for the next story. I will keep the background short. I divorced my ex-husband when my daughter Maria was 10. I got the house but was a stay-at-home mum, so I had trouble making ends meet. So lots of budgeting after I got a job in my field again. My ex didn't have this problem and could spoil her. He spoiled her rotten, and it really affected our relationship. I would tell her I can't afford to get her a $1,000 laptop, and it would cause a huge argument about how Dad is better. Tried to get her a job. An argument happened. When she was 17, she decided to drop from high school. I told her no. She told me it was her life and she can do what she wants. Another argument, and she left to live with Dad permanently. I tried to contact her multiple times, but she told me I wasn't her mother anymore and to leave her alone. She's now 21 and her dad has gotten remarried and basically kicked her out. She called me and we met up. She wants to move back in, and I only told her only under these conditions. 1. She needs to get her GED. 2. She needs to be working a job at least 25 plus hours a week. 3. She needs to be looking into what her career will be and either go to a trade school or college. 4. She won't need to pay rent but needs to buy her own stuff like clothes and personal items. 5. She needs to contribute to the shared areas, chores. She would refuse to do them as a kid. 6. Finally, no partying lifestyle. She needs to focus on getting her life together, not going out every night like she used to do, save it for the weekend. She called me a crazy jerk and that I'm a shoot mother. I informed her that she made it clear she has no mother. She stormed out and I'm getting texts. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Those are reasonable requests for any 21-year-old living at home, whether there is a good relationship or not. Only small piece of advice on the parting rule is if it comes to fruition, don't be completely overbearing about it. I only say this because I'm living it. I recently got divorced and moved back home. My mother is letting me live rent-free to save to buy a house. I kept my old house as an investment property. She is truly helping me, and I appreciate it. However, I cracked a beer to watch a Monday night football game and she was like, "What are you doing? You work tomorrow." I'm 33, work from home, was not driving, and it was one beer to watch a game. She's not against drinking either. It was just, it's Monday. So like if your daughter is responsible and wants a drink and it doesn't go against health, safety, religious standards, I personally would not watch over her too closely and make her feel watched. However, I completely agree if she was trying to go out every night or something. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Those are completely reasonable requests. Beyond reasonable, even. You wouldn't be out of line to ask for bills or contributions to household expenses. She's right. It's her life and she can live it how she wants. That means she needs to find a way to pay for it. She can't live off her parents for her whole life. It sounds like she was getting a free ride from Dad, and now that's gone, she's learning the hard way what actual adulting looks like. The partying lifestyle thing is the only one close to being a line, but again, your house, your rules. It's completely fair for you to not want your roommate coming home drunk at 2 a.m. every morning being loud and disruptive. If she wants to go out every night, let her find her own place or roommates who are into that. Comment 3. Not the idiot. None of those are unreasonable things to ask. Heck, 1 and 3 are things she should be doing anyway. 4 and 5 should are the bare minimum for living with someone. 2 is expected for any adult that doesn't have an alternate source of income. The last is just the price of living rent-free, and probably a good idea anyway. She got her free ride as a kid and wasted it. Now it's time to join the real world. Good luck to her finding a better offer. Now, for the update. So, 2 weeks have passed since my daughter's explosive reaction to my conditions for her moving back in. The house has been eerily quiet without her. I've been doing a lot of thinking and second-guessing myself. But then, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize last Tuesday. It was the local hospital. My daughter had been admitted. My heart dropped faster than a lead balloon. They wouldn't tell me what was wrong over the phone, just that I needed to come in ASAP. I rushed over, my mind racing a mile a minute. Turns out she had a small cut on her arm that got infected. It seems she's been couch surfing and living somewhat rough since leaving her father's and hasn't been taking care of herself. She was asleep when I got there, looking so much younger and more vulnerable than I remembered. The nurse mentioned that she hadn't listed any emergency contacts and seemed to have no one visiting her. It made me feel a pang in my heart. Once she woke up, things were tense. We didn't speak about the conditions or her moving in, we just sat there for a while. Afterwards I went home, feeling a mixture of relief and sorrow. A couple of days later I got a call from her. She wanted to move back in, she said, and she would meet my conditions. I couldn't believe my ears, but I reminded her of the seriousness of what she was agreeing to. She sounded tired, but resigned. She's been back home for a week now. She's found a part-time job at a local convenience store, and we've been looking into GED programs. We've had a few clashes over chores and her coming home late, but we're working on it. The biggest surprise, though, came 2 days ago. She asked me about my work, how I manage finances, and my thoughts on her possibly going to community college. The conversation was hard for both of us, but it was a start. One I never thought we'd have after all these years of strained silence. It's early days yet, and I know we're facing a long uphill battle, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful for my daughter's future. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is a tough situation, but your actions are clearly coming from a place of love and concern for your daughter. It's difficult to set boundaries, especially with our own children, but you did what you felt was best to ensure her safety and well-being. You didn't abandon her. You visited her in the hospital, and you welcomed her back when she agreed to the conditions. It sounds like you're trying to promote responsibility and self-improvement, which is positive parenting. It's great that she's showing interest in community college and your finances, which suggests she's starting to understand the realities of adult life. Comment 2. Not the idiot. It's important for young adults to understand that actions have consequences, and you're teaching your daughter this principle. By setting conditions, you're not just providing for her immediate needs, but also preparing her for the future. You're teaching her about the importance of education, financial stability, and resilience. The fact that she's now found a part-time job and is considering further education is a testament to this. It's heartening to see that despite the initial resistance, your daughter is now making strides in the right direction. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It's evident that your actions are driven by the desire to see your daughter thrive and become independent, which is a key aspect of parenting. You're not only giving her a safe place to stay, but also encouraging her to better herself through education and gainful employment. The fact that she's started to ask about your work and finances indicates that she's becoming more mature and responsible. Continue to support her in this journey and remember, progress may be slow but it's significant. It's not about winning or losing but about growing and learning. Keep fostering an open dialogue and work on building a trustful relationship with your daughter. Now for the next story. I have a friend, Bella, who is in her late 20s and has a toddler and a baby. She constantly bemoans the fact that the village doesn't exist anymore and people aren't helping her and her partner with their baby the way they used to in past generations. She talks about how selfish and terrible society is now. She's really bitter that her mother won't retire and babysit the kids for free, but her mother is only in her mid-50s and can't afford to retire yet. She constantly complains she can't travel or enjoy her life anymore because she doesn't have a village. After years of this, I told her I'm actually really glad we have moved away from that, because the village that parents romanticize was actually the unpaid labor of women. As a woman who doesn't want a child, I'm glad that I'm no longer considered socially obligated to babysit other people's kids for free, or do household chores for people who chose to have kids in my free time. Especially because these people won't pay it forward to me in any way. And if something happened to me, like getting really sick and needing help, they'd use their kids as a reason they can't help me. I also reminded her that the village depended on women not having jobs, and it is a good thing that women can now sustain themselves and aren't forced into dependency on their fathers or husbands. The thing that triggered it was that I went overseas recently for a holiday and to attend a concert of an artist I really like. She complained about how she doesn't get to do these things because the village is off doing things like that. She said I'm just a really selfish, child-free person who wants mothers to suffer, but I don't think I was wrong. And then she said I was a bad feminist and a terrible person and hasn't spoken to me since. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot, the village did not necessarily even exist universally. There was cases where parents had the support of their family and friends, but there were plenty who didn't. It reminds me of people who romanticize notable, but not universal, elements of the post-war period because they feel entitled to it as owed, aka American Dream, where everyone had a family house, 2 cars, 2.5 kids, one income. Sure, there was the rise of suburbanization, but there were still cities, the poor, and variety of circumstances. Comment 2. I don't know, I'm leaning not the idiot since I think she was out of line to call you a bad feminist, but seems kind of like maybe you guys weren't very suited to be friends now that you're both so different. I don't think her complaints about the lack of a perceived support network were really an anthropological argument that needed your rebuttal, but I get why it could frustrate you after a while. I'm child-free and still wish things were different for parents these days. But hey, comment 3, not the idiot. So many things, from caring for the sick, disabled, community projects, to helping raise children, was unpaid women's labours that relied on us not being able to work. Yes, it's unfair now that women are expected to work and raise children unless the men are doing an equal share. But in this case, it just sounds like your friend wasn't ready for the responsibility of a child. Now for the update. Life has a cruel way of imparting lessons, doesn't it? Tragedy struck Bella's family last week. Her youngest, a cherubic 2-year-old, developed sudden respiratory complications. It was an unexpected health crisis that spiraled quickly, and within 24 hours, despite the best efforts of the medical professionals, she passed away. The shock and grief are unbearable. Bella is devastated, inconsolable. Every fibre of my being aches to reach out to her, to tell her how sorry I am, to offer support, but the words feel hollow, stuck in my throat. The unbridgeable gap our disagreement had caused stopped me. I am lost, drowning in a sea of regret. In the aftermath of the terrible event, Bella's husband too was deeply affected. He lost his job, unable to focus or perform. Bella's older children, they're just 5 and 7, are struggling to comprehend the sudden tragic loss of their baby sister, their father's despair, and their mother's paralysing grief. The family is disintegrating, spiralling into a darkness that seems endless. And what about the community, the village Bella missed so deeply? They rallied around her, offering their support in varied forms: meals, childcare for the older kids, financial help. But the warmth and empathy, while genuine, were fleeting, overwhelmed by their own busy lives. Bella's longing for the village, where support was continuous and ingrained in the society, had brutally hit home. The guilt is eating me alive. I'd accused Bella of yearning for the village, for expecting others to shoulder her responsibilities without compensation. But now I see the agony, the despair, the loneliness that being a parent, a mother, can entail. I see the need for a support system that can step in when life becomes unbearably hard. Bella hasn't reached out, and I don't blame her. I accused her of selfishness, of laziness even. I was so focused on my point of view that I failed to see hers. I dismissed her struggles as self-imposed. I wish I could take it all back, extend a hand and provide the support she needs. But perhaps it's too late for that now. The damage has been done, and possibly it's irreparable. Am I still the one at fault here for not reaching out, for not bridging the gap even in her darkest hour? I am drowning in regrets, and I'm unsure about my next steps. Let me know your thoughts, Reddit. Please, I need some perspective. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Loss, especially that of a child, is an incredibly difficult thing to navigate. You might feel guilty for not providing support, but it's important to remember that everyone has their life circumstances, and it's not always feasible to be there for others as much as we'd like. However, acknowledging this guilt shows that you're empathetic and understanding. Maybe you could try reaching out to Bella and her family now, expressing your condolences and offering assistance in whatever way you're able to. It's never too late to lend a hand or offer a shoulder to lean on. Also, it might be beneficial to discuss this with other community members and perhaps organise a more structured support system for families going through similar situations. Comment 2. Everyone sucks here. It's hard to digest, but everyone in this situation could have done better. Grief is a process, and it's different for everyone. Bella, of course, isn't to blame for leaning on her community. That's what they're there for. You, on the other hand, are right to feel guilty for judging her too harshly in the past, but the aim should be to learn from this and grow, not wallow in guilt. As for the community, it's a harsh reality that people often retreat to their lives after the initial shock has worn off. Perhaps this is a wake-up call to create more sustainable and long-term support mechanisms for people in crisis. It's not about assigning blame, but improving for the future. Comment 3. No idiots here. You're human, and it's natural to misjudge situations or be wrapped up in our own lives. Your feelings of guilt are completely understandable, but it's important not to let them consume you. Instead, use these feelings as a motivator to extend your support to Bella and her family now. Also, consider this as a learning experience to be more empathetic and understanding. Perhaps you could help organise a community meeting to discuss how everyone can better support each other during times of crisis. That way no one feels neglected or unsupported when they're going through tough times. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.